Hippo.
Broadcast Hippo. Digital media.
Come on! I'm a hippo.
Broadcast Hippo. Digital media.
Hey.
Good morning. Good morning. Feels like it's been
You're echoing.
Yeah, we got a major echo issue here.
We're gonna find out who this is. We're gonna find out who the culprit is. Not Dylan.
It's not me.
It's not Dave. Wait. Hello.
Hello.
It's not me.
I think it's Dave.
Wait. Hello.
Hello.
Someone. Wait, hold on. Someone.
Does anybody have the show playing anywhere else?
Right. Exactly. I do not. Hold on.
Does anybody have the show playing anywhere else?
Right.
Nope. Delay. That's the show, you guys. Turn your.
Yeah,
got it on.
Someone's got it on. I'm trying to Mike to figure it out. Hello. It's Dave.
Oh,
Really?
Figure it out.
It's you. Something's going on with you, Dave, because when you use your mic, it goes away.
Yeah. I don't have no sound in the background. Let me restart. I'll be right back.
Okay, sounds good. All right, everybody, welcome to the show. Hey, it's been a couple weeks, so we're working out the bugs. It happens.
Yeah, we're here.
Donnie P, our honorary mayor of Cedar Point, Nicole, our executive producer, Dylan's here, and of course, Dave, our expert, will be coming back after. It's definitely Dave, though. It's gone.
it was Dave.
No doubt, 100% it was.
He might have been using his external speaker, so maybe it was just a little bit of a.
There we go.
feedback.
Oh,
Somehow two windows opened at the same time. I don't know how.
Oh,
That's funny. Damn it, Dave.
I know. I'm like,
Damn it,
Michael's
Dave.
spot today.
Dave is
This
ruined.
Michael's not here. I gotta,
Dave, you just ruined the whole show. Thanks. All right, so a couple
Not
things.
true.
We got a whole big old list because we haven't been on it forever. But I do want to talk about a couple things right up top. First of all, I want to talk about Michael, who's not with us today. Michael is very busy and frustrated. He's working at Castaway Bay, and again, Cedar Point is having a labor issue. Now, on this podcast, we all have to establish that we love Cedar Point. We love it. But I think we also have to be realistic point, and it's okay to criticize as long as the criticism comes from love. So last year, they did the $20 an hour thing. They went back down to $15, and I think that, of course, you're paying more money. You want to cut that down as quickly as you can, but maybe they needed to keep it at 20. Maybe they needed to run a second year in a row at the 20 to get everyone where they need to be, because people are just complaining about labor issues, and this is a guy on the inside who says they're having labor problems.
absolutely. I've noticed it.
It hurts Donnie's heart whenever we criticize Cedar Point. I can see it in his face.
Yeah. Well, I do agree though. Like you said, if they wouldn't have made the whole announcement, all right, we're dropping that back down to 15. So we're all assuming that we've got our ish together.
Correct.
Which we know it's tough. It's a huge park. It's a giant park with 10 resorts now. So we get it. It's hard, but we've got to do better.
If you made $20 last year, didn't they honor that this year?
Yeah,
the
returners, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so I think they were probably counting on that. Counting on all those people coming back. And
Which I get, but it's like it's like you did it too soon. It's like, I know you want to save the money and whatever, but make sure that the experience is going to be positive for your guests, which is really the most important thing. And then see where you're at, and then you can start making adjustments.
And they have 2 entirely new resorts open this year, like as far as the past 2 years. So, and I haven't heard anything about Sawmill. I haven't talked to anyone who stayed there. Is it even open yet? Like, it's kind of been an afterthought with the way the season has rolled out.
Yeah.
Well, what's amazing too is another sign of a labor issue is their hours. They're only open until 8:00 most nights. I mean, Kings Island down in Cincinnati, they're open till 10:00. They've been open for 10:00 for a while now.
Yeah, that's why I'm so glad you're here, Dave, because you noticed those nuances, and you posted that in the group about a week ago that on Memorial Day that they closed earlier than they usually.
Yeah, 8:00 on Memorial Day. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Didn't we used to stay open later though? At one point.
Oh, always.
Yeah,
they were at least 10 that I remember. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I remember too.
Yeah, that's what Dave was saying. So, I mean, there's obviously still having labor issues. I'm sure it's frustrating for everybody.
That tells you. That tells me like they've got one shift. Like come in, clock in. You're working bell to bell. Thanks for the help. See you tomorrow, and do it again.
Right, which you've cut a second shift of staff down, so now you've cut your need of staff down. But it's when it's affecting the guest experience like this, which it is, we really have to figure that out.
Yeah, we were gonna go, I think Memorial Day, but we weren't able to get there till like 2-3 o'clock, and we were under the impression it was a 10 o'clock closing. And I just happened to look, and it was only 8. We're like, we're not gonna drive 2.5 hours. To get like 4 hours in the park, that's another 2.5 back. So
hopefully they get that all straightened out. Now, the other thing, my wife Colleen went to Cedar Point yesterday and took our 4-year-old, and she had a kind of a scary incident happen. So I wanted to bring her in to talk about that. Tell them what happened, Colleen.
So if you don't know, Josie actually has a history of febrile seizures, which is a seizure associated with a fever.
Which she had one. She only had one.
She had one
about a year ago.
Yep, in July of 21. And I was not present for that seizure. So from your mom's description of what was going on, I immediately realized that Josie was pre-seizure. Her eyes were.
Well, but you were at Cedar. So you were at Cedar Point yesterday. You and her went down to Cedar Point.
Yep. Her, myself, my sister, and my niece and great nephew. I had ran to fill up our cups for my sister and I came back and I noticed Josie was not in line for her favorite ride, the big trucks right there in Kitty Kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
So I peek in the stroller and she's laying down in her wagon stroller, and her eyes are kind of like glassed over, and she's not responding to me. I'm like, Josie, and she's not looking at me, and immediately panic sets in. And my sister is horrible in those situations too. So I'm like, Xanon, she's gonna seize. Xanon, she's gonna have a seizure. And she's like, I have no idea what to do. And I was originally gonna go to like the Snoopy boutique and just grab like cold towels to put on her. And then I was like, wait a second, first aid's right there. So I run back, grab the stroller, and take off with her to first aid. I have to say that Ethan and Cindy were so remarkable. As soon as I walked in the door, they got me right back to like their little triage area. It's like a whole entire emergency room back there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They got me right back to the triage area. We're like, don't touch her, kind of like evaluating her.
Mm-hmm.
And then they got us into the like emergency care area, and they asked me to take her out of the stroller, immediately started packing her with ice. That was the first time that I had saw that done.
Mm-hmm.
So her body temperature from the heat had gotten up to 101.3, which caused the seizure. Obviously we had medical transportation previous, so I knew what was going to happen. They were going to keep her. They were going to evaluate. They were going to say, hey, she had a seizure. They were going to discharge me. And it was going to be 4 hours of being in the hospital for no reason.
Mm-hmm.
So I called her neurologist, and they told me just take her home and let her sleep. But I think that a lot of people, like, I always thought it was just a first aid station. Like, that's where you go for a Band-Aid. That's where you go for this. That's where you go for whatever. It is a whole entire like urgent care. And I was also informed that if you call 911 anywhere in the park, Cedar Point is dispatched. It's not Sandusky.
Well, it's interesting because that's something you don't think about. Thank God most people don't have to deal with it, but it's good to know that they have that kind of medical attention on site when something like that.
I mean, it was like I believe Cindy's like a nurse practitioner or something. I couldn't read the actual signature. But I mean, huge applaud to them.
Yeah,
they were on top of everything. They also, let me know something else that I didn't know was common knowledge. Because she has a history of heat-induced seizures, She's eligible for a medical tag for her stroller. She's eligible for an exit pass. I didn't think that people with Kitty Kingdom and stuff like that would be eligible for an exit pass.
Right. Well, I mean, thank God she's okay. She's sleeping right now, but the medical staff did a great job.
They were phenomenal.
All right, thank you, Colin. Has anyone else ever had to use the medical station there?
Well, last year, I don't know if you remember, we chatted about it once. My middle oldest is allergic to some bug bites, and she'd never been stung by a bee, and she got stung in Frontier Town. So we just kind of panicked and like ran to the first aid station, and we let her know it was her first bee sting, and that we don't know if she's allergic. And they were like super. We went to the one in the back in Frontier Town, and they were very, very, very helpful, very calming, and they have water back there. They gave all the kids popsicles. It was great. They really helped us relax, and they kept an eye on her for like 10 minutes because they if you don't have a reaction right away, then you're good. So yeah, it was really awesome. It was really nice.
Yeah, I know somebody that was having the same issues with heat and that, and they took her back there and gave them Gatorade, some Gatorade and cool towels, and they were really friendly. And I also want to mention, somebody had mentioned to me that they have an autism-friendly room back there too, for kids that are sensitive to sound and all that. And it's just a calming room they can go
calm down,
for a little while.
That's cool. I tell a side story that Colleen was talking about, how we're not good with medical emergencies. I'm horrible with it. I can give you a perfect example. Several years ago, I was working at a radio station in Tucson, Arizona, and we were all in a conference room to where it was all staff. So there was TV, a few radio stations. So there were probably 50 people in this room, and so we were in there, and I was sitting next to this guy named Fish, who did the afternoons on one of the radio stations or whatever. And so the person in charge was talking, and Fish started going, bah, ha, blah. And we thought he was being funny. This dude's making funny. Yeah, making funnies here. And I'm like, okay, it's kind of funny. And then all of a sudden, like, his eyes started bugging out, and he was having a heart attack. So
shit.
I don't know what to do. So I remember in the movies that if someone's about to die, so they hear a sounds from the outside, and all of a sudden it brings it back, like they open their eyes and then they're back there. So I just started screaming to my lungs, "Fish, come back! Fish, fish, fish!" Like I'm just screaming, trying to bring him back. Like I'm not doing anything else but just screaming. And they're like,
at least you're doing something.
they're like, Andrew, leave the room. Outside. He was fine. Thank God he was okay. But it shows how terrible I would be in a medical emergency.
Andrew, you saved that man's life that day.
You shouldn't be laughing, but it sounds funny the way you
you
talk about it.
Donnie, you think I brought him back?
Oh, totally. Oh, totally. I thought. I mean, you were one step away from just standing over him and clapping, like, come on back, baby.
I was like, come back, Fish, come back.
Run to the light.
Yes, see
the
that
light.
Exactly. So he was like, one side, the light was calling him, and I'm screaming here like it's a fight between me and the light. And luckily, I won.
Yeah, don't go to the light. Go to Andrew.
So the medical advice that we'd like to give, and you don't have to take our medical advice. We don't advise that. We don't give medical advice. But if you ever do it, just scream at somebody really loud. It brings them right back to where they need to be. And you just go about riding the rides and stuff still. It's cool. Like 5 minutes.
Well, I just want to say I'm so glad she's okay, and that would be so scary. Yeah. And so now here is the real question, because that situation is over. Where are the first aid stations? Where at? Frontier Town, where? Kitty Kingdom, where? Okay, those are the two?
Yeah, you got one back in Frontier Town, and then you have the one up kind of by the Planet Snoopy area there in the front of the park.
And in Frontier Town, it's right by the Coke station. It's like that Coke restaurant. It's like the one that looks like an old timey.
I know which one that is.
Soda fountain.
Yeah, where you go, it's like a Western saloon. You go in to get they got the freestyle Coke, which I freaking love. So it's right around the corner from that. And go ahead.
You know the old arcade skee ball area used to be? Mm-hmm. That's actually where it's at. It's kind of on the side of that building there, where they're putting a new Build-A-Bear inside there. Yeah. So right
we got to talk about that.
Great,
Yeah, I
great
saw that, and somebody just said, "No."
Dude, that was me, man. That's gonna
that
be
was
rough.
Donnie.
We gotta get to Donnie here in a second. But real quick, the second one is right there by the arcade. So it's on the side of the arcade. It's towards the main entrance side of the arcade, right there at the corner of the building. Is where the second one is there, right? Right? Isn't that? No. I take that back. You're right, Dave. It's right in camps. It's where the teacups are. They don't call them teacups.
Yeah, Whirly World Whirl or something like that.
Yeah, playing. What did you say, Colin?
I ran through the arcade to get to the first aid.
Oh, she ran through the arcade to get the first aid, which is right there in the back side. It's like almost like the back side of the gift shop.
Yeah.
The new Snoopy gift shop. It's right on the back side of that.
Where those restrooms are back in there. It's kind of in that little cove area. All
right, so
I bring my own EMS team because my husband's a nurse. So bye.
Oh, nice. all right, Dave. So you broke some news. You broke some news this week about the Build-A-Bear. Not the biggest news, but it was still interesting. What's the news on Build-A-Bear at Cedar Point?
Well, it's coming. And I believe they used to have one years ago on the Frontier Trail, if I'm not mistaken. I think I remember one being there at one point. But from what I hear, it's going in the back of the park right next to that first aid, actually, where the arcade skee ball used to be. That should be opening up sometime later this season. That's about all the information I have on it.
Yeah,
right
Donnie.
now.
Donnie was not happy with.
Donnie was not.
I wasn't happy because I'm a merch guy, and $20, $30, $40 Squishmallows. I'm here for it. I'm getting them. All right. Now, if they're gonna have themed Build-A-Bears, they're gonna have themes. They're gonna have little mini T-shirts. They're gonna have. You're talking. Even at a regular Build-A-Bear, you're like $70 a bear, $75 a bear. Yeah, they're $15, okay, but then you got to get the shoes.
My favorite thing.
You got to get the bear undies. You got to get the bear shirt.
My favorite thing was when you said you better get your wallets out. You better get your wallets out.
We're looking at $150 a pop.
Then you have to get the one that sings the Frozen song and does the heartbeat.
Right.
And
you got to get one for your kids. You got to get one for your wife. And I'm not gonna get one.
Of course they're gonna come out with Cedar Point themed ones, maybe with like different coaster shirts on them or something.
Yes.
Right. Along those lines, and we gotta get them.
All right, I'm saving up.
Donnie, you're going to need a new shelf in your house for all your Build-A-Bears.
I
different
know.
shirts and your Squishmallows. It's going to
My
look like
coffee
Brady
cups.
and Caitlin's house soon, but you're paying for them.
Go ahead, Colleen.
$4 birthday bear, they lied.
Because you get the bear your age. That's how they rope you in, and then all the accessories.
They forgot the 5 in front of it.
Pretty soon, Donnie's house is going to look like the Cedar couple's house.
Yeah.
Sandals and stuff all over the place.
So, and the Squishmallows, I was at Costa Media, and the Squishmallows all have my birthday this year, so I feel like I have to buy all of them because they have my birthday.
The damn Squishmallow thing. I don't know why I have such a disdain for them. I think it's because Colleen has bought into the bullshit to where the girls think they need Squishmallows, so Colleen will travel for special Squishmallows, and then 2 hours later, they're sitting in the pile with the other goddamn Squishmallows.
Yeah.
And then never seen again. Never played with, in a corner, no one touches. I'm like, stop going through hoops, stop spending money on Squishmallows that are just going to sit in the effing corner with all the other Squishmallows. It drives me crazy that she buys into this crap.
Andrew, how old is your oldest daughter?
15.
15. Okay. So you had 15 years to just embrace what is happening because it's not going to change.
I know. Oh, I know. I've tried. And
this is life.
Look, I'm like the horse that's the bucking bronco that hasn't been tamed yet, and you're not gonna get it. I'm gonna continue to fight. Get off me. I'm gonna continue to buck you off. Go ahead, Colleen.
Really quick, I just wanted to have witnesses around when I let Andrew know that my ex-husband has bagged up all of Mallory's Squishmallows at his house and has informed me that they're coming to our house, and there are 14 contractor bags.
No.
But it's that, and then she's got a stash there and a stash here. It's stupid. You're wasting money for something. Number one, it's not worth anything.
14.
And you don't touch. She's can't.
So
That's
have
gotta
really
be like
cheap-
200 Squishmallows.
Bro,
You just need to line the girls' rooms with shelves so they can just all be.
Hopefully, you have a spare bedroom.
Now, here's what I'm gonna do: is I'm gonna buy a trailer, and we're gonna do our own game, and we're just gonna I'm gonna start giving away his prizes. Whatever game I'm gonna come up with on a stupid trailer, and I'm just gonna drive it around, like an ice cream truck drives through neighborhoods. I'm gonna have a game that drives through neighborhoods. Yep. I'm gonna have Squishmallows all connected to the outside of the trailer all the way around to bring these kids in like bait, and then they're gonna play the game, and then they can win the Squishmallows, and that's how I'm getting my money back.
I want to whack the mole.
Well, I hear they got a seagull one now too.
I want that. I saw that. I'm getting it. I don't.
Now listen to this. The seagull's great, but I think they're totally missing the boat here.
What?
How about a mufflehead Squishmallow?
For sure.
I mean, muffleheads are a big part of Cedar Point.
You guys, what are you doing?
Even my kids know about the muffleheads.
Yeah.
All right, you got to tell us.
Like, what is a mufflehead?
Those little bugs that fly. They certain times of the year. There's like swarms of them in the park.
Yeah.
Caked on all the front of the coaster cars.
Oh
and
yeah.
that.
Well, the muffleheads are all year round. They're like how the mayflies and the June bugs are like seasonal, but the muffleheads are they're the tiny little bugs that are all year round. And if you stay at Lighthouse Point, they actually give a handout to explain that they're normal, and that if you just kind of like wave them away, that they're not going to bother you. They really don't mess with you too much, as long as you're let's say you're going to go cook out at Lighthouse Point, you just got to go out there and kind of swoosh them away, and they're like, okay, I guess we're taking off.
I remember staying at Castaway Bay before the remodel, obviously a couple years ago, and because you get your own patio, and it would be a screen there, and it's right on the marina, right on the water, and your screen would just be full of bugs. I mean, like caked on bugs, not a couple bugs, but like your whole screen would just be caked on. It was
that image is burnt into my memory from the last time we stayed at Castaway Bay before the remodel. It was like, what in the world happened here?
I just remember riding Millennium Force, getting slapped in the face by all those bugs.
It happens.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. All right.
So if you guys haven't seen the seagull, the Steven Seagull Squishmallow, he has a thing of French fries, and he's got a French fry in his mouth as well. So he's really cute.
I wanted to say, Andrew, that it looks like I don't know if anybody saw this, but it looks like they're gonna put a restaurant where the Wicked Twister site is, or I don't know. I saw that.
Well, I got
go ahead, Dave.
About that.
Go ahead, Dave. So we were switching subjects here. Go ahead, Dave.
I got semi-confirmation on. He's pretty much correct. It's going to be a restaurant, like a 2 or 3 level restaurant. Mm-hmm. It's also going to have a boat dock on the back end that takes guests to and from Sawmill Creek.
Yeah,
I think that's amazing. I think that's super exciting. Sorry, I'm a dork. I would love that boat ride across. Oh, there's a
Squishmallow. Yeah,
there's our Steven Seagal.
Mellow.
Basically, it's going to be a couple levels, and I don't know. One of the levels is going to be like catering, special event type level.
Wait, okay, so start from the beginning, Dave, because Dylan kind of led us into it. But start from the beginning. So, Wicked Twister area, we kind of now start at the beginning because I missed a little bit of it.
And this is our fence watch too. Our fence watch.
Yeah, the fence watch. Yeah,
at Lakeview.
Fence watch 2023. Yeah.
Okay.
Basically, it's going to be like a restaurant and kind of like conference or event area where they're going to have a whole level for events in there, the catering, for large groups, that type of deal. And then there's going to be a restaurant in there as well, and then the boat dock. Like I mentioned, it's going to take guests to and from the Sawmill Creek Resort, which I think that's a great idea.
Cool.
Because the distance between the two, and that's a real good selling point for the hotel.
Yeah.
On top of it.
Well, also, Dave, it's a genius move because it's hard to connect the two. Like, how is Sawmill part of Cedar Point? It's hard. There's no really connective tissues, but with this boat take, and forth. That is the connective tissue that I think it's missing to give it Cedar Point vibe, if that makes any sense.
I hope with my whole heart that 100% can happen. The only thing I'm a little bit worried about is if they're going to have a boat dock there, it's going to have to go 200-300 yards out into the water because it's so shallow over there. Unless they're going to have some maybe pontoon style transports, just because it's so shallow on that beach. Like, I don't see what kind of boat they could get over there close enough to dock there.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Disney does it, and they got shallow water in a lot of the sections too. I don't know.
They could dig it out too.
Is there a dock over there even?
No, not
no.
right.
It's just beach. It's like a mile and a half of beach on that side of the pier.
Now they do have the break wall out there too to help. I mean, I don't know, with the waves and stuff. So
I wonder what the travel time will be from Saw Creek. Has anyone speculated from Saw Creek to that spot?
It's got to be at least a half an hour. It's going to have to be at least a half an hour across there.
I mean, it's about a 15-17-minute drive, something like that.
Yeah. Well, that's going to be interesting, and I think it's a good move. It's going to bring new light. I do worry that they're taking out a lot of rides, like they took out the Wicked Twister, they took out the cars for the other restaurant. They're taking out a lot of stuff, and there really hasn't been any announcement of anything coming back in.
Top Thrill Dragster is on the way out, probably.
Yeah, so we're hearing a lot of minuses, and we're not hearing a lot of pluses when it comes.
Yes, and I am getting a lot of feedback about that too. People aren't happy.
Really,
I mean, restaurants are great, but they're taking out a lot of rides and they're not adding any new rides.
Exactly.
But that's your coaster enthusiast. For the non-coaster enthusiasts, these are things that are attractions to the park. I think.
Oh, absolutely. I agree. You got to have the whole package.
Right, I'm the coaster person, but are they trying to make it a little bit more accessible for everyone?
Well, it's ironic because for years now, people are like, they need more family attractions, this and that, and they're starting to add them. Now people are complaining that they don't have the throw rides.
I think that
so it's kind of, what do you do?
There's always going to be people that are mad either way. So, I think that having a dock there is so cool.
At the same time, the park has built its reputation on the throw rides. Right. That's their niche.
You can't ignore
and all that. They've kind of made their own bed there, but
you
might be a little.
You can't ignore what got you there. Go ahead, Nicole.
I was just going to say, and I heard a rumor that it was going to be some type of brewery situation going on. I don't know how that would work, but.
Kind of like Kings Island.
So I'm cool with that. Like beer by the water. Great.
Look at Donnie. Well, it's some of this stuff too, the restaurant stuff. And again, it does worry me, like Dave said, that you're pulling a lot of rides out and not putting rides in. But the one thing is, I think this is stuff that will encourage maybe a longer stay, because if you're staying, maybe you'll stay more days if there's more options to have a brewery. You can hang out, watch a game. You can do other things while the kids are playing. Maybe these are things. Yeah, maybe things that will keep you longer there, and maybe that they say in radio there's two ways to get listeners. Either you get more listeners listening, or you get the ones you have to listen longer. And I think it's the same thing with Cedar Point. You either get more people to come in, or once you think you're not going to bring in more people, you need to get them to stay longer. And it sounds like maybe some of these things. That this new move is
another issue too. I see with it, they can't even staff what they have now. And then they're adding all this new stuff. It's like,
I think that, but I think that's a temporary. I think that's a temporary issue for the entire country. So this restaurant or whatever it is isn't going to be open for at least another year.
Well, it's interesting. I was in California vacation last week, and and when you go, it was like a mini family reunion with a lot of relatives and stuff, and that's where you realize that you're the least successful relative of the whole clan, so that's not the best part. But as I talked
is that when you took the video of the carousel, Andrew?
Yes. Oh yeah, I'll talk about that real quick. But what I've been told by people that are much smarter than me, that are like bankers and investors and do all this stuff, that there is going to be a flip on. Right now, it's ruled. Everything's ruled by people looking for jobs. You guys are in the driver's seat. we're in the driver's seat, but it's going to change it very soon. So maybe those, like you said, Nicole said that maybe those issues are temporary. Hopefully they are temporary and they can get their house in order. But the other two, I went to the Monterey Bay the boardwalk in Monterey, California, and that was cool. I saw for the first random cat.
Sorry, that Jaws?
What happened?
Yeah, right. Random cat just
an animal just walked in front of Donnie. So if you're listening, you didn't see that. Was it a cat? Was it a cat tail that just walked?
I see.
We all just got a cat ass across our screen. So pardon us if you're just listening and not watching. But if you're just listening, go watch it so you can see Donnie's cat ass.
Sorry about that.
This is kind of cool. Though when I went to the boardwalk, they have this carousel, which there's a arm on it, and you would pull rings from the carousel, and then there's a giant clown wall. So you would fling the rings into the mouth, try to fling the rings into the mouth of the clown, which is, I'd never seen that twist on a carousel ride. Maybe, for kids that have fun on them, but adults maybe don't. Maybe this is Donnie's not liking it. What's the matter?
I watched that video, and all I could picture is someone's finger getting stuck and the ring not coming out. I'm like, there is no way I'm reaching out and trying to grab one of those rings. That looked like a missing finger waiting to happen. Yeah.
We're having another cat cameo too.
Yeah, I got mine right here. Mine just jumped up here.
Dave had to bring a cameo. Dave had to bring his cat in because Donnie had his cat in. Dave's cat got jealous.
Dave's cat is like, I will not be outdone by the Donnie.
But I had been to every amusement park. I had never seen a carousel with that added game type element. But Dave, you said that you have seen those before.
Oh yeah, they used to be common way back in the day. And you get the ring. They were brass rings back then, made of actual brass.
Oh,
I don't think it's economically feasible to do that today.
It's less less.
But they had a clown. There's a clown mouth, and the trick was you grab the ring, and then while you're riding, you're going around. You got to try to get that ring
in the clown's
mouth.
Yeah,
if you got it into the clown's mouth, an alarm would go off, and you would win like a prize, like a free ride or whatever they were giving away.
Which I appreciated the reimagine, and you say it's old school, so it's surprising me because I'd never seen it, but it's a reimagining of just a random, just a regular carousel ride. Maybe dads can have a little more fun. Kids have fun on carousels, but us, it's just like, okay, we're going in circles and we're going up and down. It's not really that fun. Adds a little element. Go ahead, Donnie.
Yeah, they got a lot of complaints because after people would get their fingers ripped off, someone would come around, they'd grab the finger, throw it, make it into the hole, and they wouldn't win anything. They're like, oh, well,
the whole finger?
Throw the ring, not the finger.
Oh my god!
So they kind of phased them out.
The problem too, Dylan, is that a lot of times the seagulls would swoop down and pick the fingers up and pick them off, and so you just have random fingers strewn across the park.
In fact, seagulls were thinking they were long nuggets, and they were just grabbing them.
In fact, fun little fact here is the squishmallows at that park actually have a finger in their mouth. The seagull squishmallows have a finger in their mouth instead of a French fry. It's very cool. Very retro.
Oh, that's awesome, man.
I'm thinking about these metal rings that you're talking about. Was it Dave saying that? Like, how many people? I hope that the first aid station was near that ride because people just get binged in the head with these brass rings.
They got it to where if your finger gets in there, the ring's gonna come out. It's not gonna.
Here's the thing.
I'm just talking about the random ones flying and hitting people in the head as they're spinning around the carousel.
Oh yeah, they were all around, and it's funny you say that, Dave, because maybe the safety was the reason that it's not doing it, and maybe they're not. You don't see those anymore. Maybe it was a safety issue, and these guys safety third at this place.
Yeah, I know. There's a classic park in Pennsylvania called Knoebels Park. Beautiful park, by the way. They have a classic carousel there, which still has the rings on it as well.
Really? Oh, okay.
Really nice.
It was a
waiver.
Yes, sign the waiver. All right. So, what else? I know, Nicole, you went to Coaster Mania, There have been a lot of complaints about Coaster Mania. Ah, there's the shirt. There have been a lot of complaints about Coaster Mania, especially when you put it up against what goes on over at Kings Island. And so we talked about that on the last show. But Nicole, you actually experienced. What do you think?
Okay, so I have a couple of takeaways. First of all, if you have listened to the show before, I met Molly and we hung out and rode rides and whatnot. So that was fun.
Yeah.
So it was my first Coaster Mania. I don't have the experience of the Godfather Dave with all of the awesome events he's gotten to go to. So there were a couple of things off the top. First of all, I had an awesome day. The worst day at Cedar Point is still awesome.
Any day in the real world. Any day in the world. Yeah.
I'm kind of on the Donnie train of I love Cedar Point. So like everything they do is awesome, which is not true, but sort of. So just keep that in mind. There were too many people. So that was the biggest thing. It feels like it was oversold because the lines were long. There was no marathoning rides during ERT. There was, I waited 45 minutes for Maverick, just like I would have anyways. There was overlapping events, so I couldn't go. So when you got there, you got your lunchtime and there's a cruise that goes around the peninsula, which was super cool. But you got what time you got, and that was it. My time happened to be at the same time as the question and answer session. So I couldn't go. I had to pick whichever it was going to be. I chose to go on the cruise because I believe that the question and answer sessions are nonsense because they don't really actually answer anything.
What you want.
Yeah, they're useless.
So,
good choice.
Yeah. So we and Molly went to the question and answer and confirmed that yes, there was no
new information.
No new information being shared. No. So I was happy to go on the boat ride. I had a beer. It was awesome. So I enjoyed that. So here's my biggest complaint was, you have ERT for your big five at Cedar Point, and Steel Vengeance was supposed to open at 10. Steel Vengeance did not open till 10:30. And there was an hour and a half ERT for Steel Vengeance, which I would imagine those who Cedar Point is not their home park. This was the main attraction of why they decided to come to Coaster Mania was for Steel Vengeance. Steel Vengeance did not open until 10:30.
Can I stop you real quick and ask a question for everyone? Yeah. So when you say ERT is supposed to be an hour and a half, extended ride time, I know that's what that means, but does that mean that only people in Coaster Mania can ride that ride from 10 to 11:30, no matter what?
Yep, it's exclusive ride time. So they had signs.
Oh my God. Okay.
So they had signs like at the front gate that said, and Tony posted on social media that Steel Vengeance would only be open to the general public from 12 to 7 because you have to remember we also had it bookended with a Wild Frontiers Night event. So it was only open to the non-event
general public
from 12 to 7. Well, it did not open until 10:30. So we were in line at 10 because
that's your time.
Everybody knows that Steve is my boyfriend and that's my favorite thing. So it did not open until 10:30. That was really unfortunate. So we waited 45 minutes for Steel Vengeance during the ERT.
Oh, Jesus.
So, that was so it was oversold. That's how I feel. It was oversold. The other rides did not have lines that long, but during Valraven's time, the line was long. Maverick was long. I think I ended up waiting. We thought it was going to be about 45 minutes because the full pavilion line was full. But again, I got to give props to Ride Ops. They were killing it. Like truly, I think we got through the Maverick line in about 30 minutes. But so we got off Steel Vengeance and were able to get back on more quickly after that initial rush. But there was other ERT going on at Gemini and somewhere else. So like if people were there to get coaster credits, they were missing. Like I missed the entire ERT for Gemini. I missed the whole time I was in line for for Steel Vengeance the entire time. So that was not awesome. The lunch was lovely at Lakeside Pavilion. We had to wait a little while. Actually, the biggest line was the t-shirt line. Like, people left without their t-shirts because the line for the t-shirts was so long.
Wow.
So do we have any idea like how many people like went to this?
No idea. Idea.
That's kind of
I don't understand things like that, so I don't know.
Here's the thing.
I've never even been to one.
This is why all that you've mentioned there, this is what makes coaster stock at Kings Island so much better. Your t-shirt, your lanyard, all that is they mail it to you in advance of the event.
Oh.
So I got it like a week or two before the event. I got all that stuff in the mail. So I didn't have to wait in line. I just walked into the park, went right into the ERT. They limit the sales to, I can't remember, 100, like 600-700 people. And then that's it. They cut it off. So the lines are manageable. I mean, every ride we went on ERT, I didn't have to wait more than one train, during our ERT to get on. So we marathoned a bunch of rides. It's a 2-day event, so nothing's really overlapping. You got one event at a time, which was really nice.
Dave,
here's I'm sorry.
Dave, here's the frustrating part, Dave, is that how are you not talking? How is Cedar Point not talking to Kings Island? Hey, this is what we're doing, and it makes sense. Like you, and it's not the first year. If this was the first year event and you're making these problems, that's an issue. But you this event annually. How are you guys not saying, okay, this is what we do at Kings Island for this event, this is what we do here. Let's take the best of both and make these both great events. Like, how are you waiting? How is the t-shirt line your longest line to where this other park, your sister park in the same?
Amen, Andrew. I agree.
Your sister park in the same state is mailing the stuff out. There's no line for shirts. It makes no sense.
Right. Well, part of the issue, somebody had, I guess from the grapevine, I heard somebody had asked that at the Q&A, like, how come this event, it's much smaller than it used to be? And I guess Tony remarked something about that there's not as many Coaster Club members as there used to be, which that left me puzzled because, Coaster Stock sold out in 3 minutes. And then they mentioned at Coaster Stock there was over 10,000 more requests after it sold out to get tickets to the event.
So that's got to be it. It's got to be the fact that they cut it off at a certain number because, if 10,000 people were trying to go to Coaster Stock and then if they didn't cut it off for Coaster Mania, which I don't think they do, have you ever heard of it selling out?
Coaster Mania in the past has sold out. Yes.
In the past, it
has,
but maybe not this time.
They said that this year it sold out, but they were selling tickets 2 weeks before, so they couldn't be. The mailing idea is great. I think that would have been awesome, but
it did not sell out.
People were still buying people.
Available.
Well, and like Donnie is
I'm sorry. Tony made a social media post stating like a day or two before ticket sales ended. He goes, "Hey, there's still some tickets left. Now's your last chance."
Well, we're almost to 10,000 tickets sold.
Yeah.
There were a lot of people, so we had to wear. We had like the fast lane line bracelets, so you could easily identify people. And then after people waited and got their shirts, you could see. A lot of people had them on, so you could see. There were a lot of people, but there's a lot of breakdowns. Like, I don't know if it was the rides were actually down. We were in line for our Millennium, and it shut down. Like, it was halfway up the hill, and an employee came through the line and said that someone either had out a vape or a phone or something, and that they were going to be unloading the train. And so we got out of line because we were like, okay, we were missing Valraven time. So we got out of line, and we didn't even get to the exit, and the train went. I was so mad because she came through the line, I think, to clear the line and lied. And so anybody that was with Coaster Mania pretty much got out of the line at that time. And it was at close. It was after 8. So there were a lot of general public people in line. They all stayed in line and rode like within 5 minutes. And then the Coaster Mania people were lined up outside the queue because it was starting at 8 o'clock. Started Millennium Force.
Well, Nicole, you also mentioned that you had the boat ride and the Q&A kind of at the same time.
Yeah,
I had someone mention to me that their boat cruise was scheduled the same time as their lunch. So they either had to choose their lunch or the boat cruise. I'm like, really?
You're kidding me.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Like going back to what Donnie says, we know that, look, they run, Cedar Point runs, if I ran Cedar Point, it's the way I would run it, to where I need to get every dollar. That's just the way I am. So, I mean, like you said, if they got to sell 10,000 and they're not going to leave money on the table, they'll sell 9,999. They don't care.
Yeah, but you're diluting the experience.
This is an investment.
No,
but it's also an investment. Like if I had a really great experience, I was a first timer, I would go again next year. You know, I've had a good experience. It was fine. It wasn't, you know, again, any day in the park is better than most other days, but I won't be spending the money because I took 4 people, you know, so that was, we are all season pass holders. So it was $160 or whatever. I'm not going to do that again. It wasn't worth $160.
Yeah,
I can go by myself, get a fast pass, and enjoy the whole day.
And I'm with you.
I don't why I skipped that event this year.
Yeah, I don't think they're doing it right. I think it's just that, like, that's why I'm not running Cedar Point, because I know if I can sell 10,000 tickets, I'm going to sell 10,000. But that's not the way it should be, because you're screwing with the experience. And it goes back to the understaffed. You're messing with people's experience, so you're saving money short term, but in the long term, how are you hurting your reputation by not having it fully staffed and, you know, saving $5 a person to where, man, we should get this done. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I also, as the unofficial mayor of Cedar Point, I'll pretend I'm Cedar Point, putting out the statement and say that the exclusive ride time for Coaster Mania is so you can ride rides with your coaster club friends. It doesn't guarantee a shorter wait. That's what Fast Pass is for. Where a ticket to Coaster Mania is $40. And a fast pass on a Saturday is about $180. So it's like,
yeah, but there are no fast lanes during the ART event,
right? No, that's what I'm saying. Like they're not going to.
They're saying, Donnie's saying on
no guarantee of
would say is enjoy the experience of hanging out in line with your fellow coaster buddies.
Yeah, well, I'm not a thuzy per se. Like that's the term, right, Dave? I'm not a thuzy because I'm not in any of the clubs, but I don't care who I'm waiting in line with. For the most part, if you're waiting in line next to me, you're doing something that's irritating me, and I'm complaining about it anyways because I'm whiny. I hate waiting in line. So you're probably doing something. So I don't care who I'm in line with. But if we had, if we had gotten to Marathon Maverick, that would have been amazing. So like it kind of transitions into Wild Frontier Nights, which. So we were on the boat ride with a couple who got free tickets. They came through the Magnum gate and they were handing out free tickets to Wild Frontier Nights. So I was like, oh, that's really interesting. And so that to me was a big sign of, well, first of all, it's not selling. But again, we talked previously about the price point being kind of high for what we thought. Now, in the pages, people that have gotten the free ones are talking about that it was a great event, that they did it really
they didn't have to pay for it.
No, the ones who, even people who paid for it are saying it. But
they're saying they liked it?
They're saying that they liked it, but to me it's still not. I don't
Well, how much is the Frontier Night?
It's $100 for 3 hours.
Because I saw online that someone who went to Wild Frontier Night rode Maverick 7 times in a row.
Yes. So at Wild Frontier Nights, they had no lines. There was people.
Because there was no people.
Rides. Yeah, I didn't get to see the cowboy hats. I didn't see that. But
so here's something interesting: is that, and it goes back to Cedar Point getting every dollar. It's like if you know that people aren't going to be there for Wild Frontier Nights, if people are leaving, you want to keep them there because now they're going to buy more drinks, more food, more whatever. So you get a chance to make more money. Because people aren't buying, but they're not buying because the price point is just
right. Well, and who was thinking like we need it? Who was like we need something that's 21 and over, adults only at the amusement park? Like what kind of group are they think they're missing that's going to get people in that wouldn't come to the park because there's too many families there. They need something adult.
I will tell you, there was a bunch of school groups there, Coaster Mania Day, like a bunch. And after waiting in line with a bunch of middle schoolers, I was very happy with the idea of going to the park 21 and over. Even if we have some crazy people drinking too much, they can't be as bad as the 12-year-olds thinking that they're super cool in line. So the more I think about it, the more I want.
It's $100 ERT, Dave.
But that's exactly what it was. So that's I didn't do it. I'm not ever probably going to buy a Wild Frontier Night ticket.
Well, you know, Andrew, you're talking about making money if you ran Cedar Point. I could see it in the future right now. Coaster Mania next year, they're going to sell Fastlane for the Coaster Mania event.
Yeah, it's another
ERT. Here you go. You can buy a band, you know.
Another revenue stream. There you go.
$80 upcharge. Yep.
Yeah, I just got a text. My buddy was at Wild Frontier Nights last night, and he said it was awesome, not very packed, got right on the rides.
Ooh.
All right,
but there's only 4 rides. That's the other thing. There's only 4 rides. So it's only 2 of the big 5. So to me, that's.
Is it always
after the park closes, or is this like the last hour of the park's actually open?
No, it's after close. So I think
9 to midnight.
It runs 9 to midnight. Okay. So they close for an hour, and then they prepare whatever, get the mechanical bull set up. I don't know,
but then it goes back. It goes back, but here it goes back to this money thing again. Damn it! It's why are you closing the park at 8 o'clock? Like for regular people, it's supposed to be open till 10, at least 10, 11, 20.
But Andrew, they're trying to get the money.
I know they found a way to make more money, but it's a short-term gain for long-term hurt because people are going to be complaining. No amusement park should close at 8 o'clock in a summer night. It's on a weekend,
especially on a holiday too.
Crazy,
yeah,
it's crazy.
And when you're a regional park in the northern United States, where you only have
certain
4 months of operating time,
right? Oh, it's frustrating.
I wasn't
8 o'clock is like bedtime for little ones.
Right, I know. It's crazy.
I mean, if you close at 8,
was
8
the
or
rides
10,
not being open.
You stay up till 10. People are still in the park spending money.
Right.
You know, I mean, I don't.
Well, and here's the other issue, Dave, is every time you're shortening those times, well, then you're going to automatically you're going to make the lines longer because there's a smaller amount of window to ride rides. So now they're already the lines. People are already complaining about long lines. Well, now you've just made it worse by cutting 2 extra hours off every single day for this other event.
And then that's how they upsell the fast lane.
I know.
Somebody's got to pay for that dock, all right?
The dock ain't paying for itself. All right, I want to.
More than one dock. We got to have someone pay for the dock in the urgent care too. So
it's true.
Right.
All right. So
you call that a paradox?
What's that, Dave?
Yeah. Is that a paradox?
Paradox.
Paradox. All right.
Wow, the dad jokes are strong.
Hey,
you just won the day.
Dad jokes are strong on my side. Yes.
I love dad jokes.
I do too. All right. So cameras and picture taking now permitted on some rides. I think this is a smart move because you're always looking for viral stuff. Well, if you allow people to do your social media for you,
right?
That's a win for the park. What do you guys think of that?
I like it. I mean, everybody took pictures on those rides anyway. They never honestly enforced it.
No.
I took a picture on a ride. I went on the Ferris wheel. I don't like the Ferris wheel. Molly took pictures of me looking at my phone because I was like, I can't look down.
I can't look down.
Waving.
And Nicole, I saw that picture, and I gotta say, even in that picture, your hair was perfect. What the heck do you do with your hair?
Wind blowing
her hair was perfect.
Yeah, her hair's like perfect.
Oh my gosh, you're so.
I got
a music video.
She was taking sneaky pictures, man. I didn't like it.
I got to tell you
werewolves of London.
My daughter went to Cedar Point with her friends. So they're 15, and they're riding one of the coasters. I can't remember which one she said. What was it? Raptor. So they're riding the Raptor, and her friend had taken her phone, but she didn't take it out, but she had it on her person. So they're riding, and all of a sudden something flies by and just misses my daughter's head, and she's like, oh my God, something just a part just flashed. Like she flashed back to Top Thrill Dragster that a piece of the roller coaster had just fallen apart, and she's like, oh my God. And then a few seconds later, her friend's like, oh my God, I don't have my phone. So it was her phone that fell out, obviously. Now this was about 8 o'clock, right around closing time. That's so silly. Right around closing time. Well, they had to now stick around because at the end of the night, they walked the tracks to get all the stuff or whatever. So now the park closes at 8. They have to stick around till midnight for this girl's phone, and they walk the track. He comes back with a bucket of phones, and there's just people standing.
A bucket of phones.
Bucket of phones. People
what ride was it?
What ride?
Raptor.
Oh my God!
Raptor is so intense. I forget sometimes how intense it is.
It is.
I like it.
And I gotta say about the whole cell phone thing, it's like, people, put your phones away. Nobody wants to see some shaky POV video of you on the phone. I mean, there's a million POV videos of the coaster on YouTube already that are done professionally.
Another example of that, Dave, is when you go to a concert. There's an artist that said, "Put your phone away and enjoy," because there's nothing worse than watching audio that you can't hear anything but you screaming. But everyone wants to take the live audio at their concert. Oh, look at it! Garth Brooks is playing this. Well, we can't. First, all we hear is screaming, and it's shitty audio, and
nothing more
watch it. Not gonna watch it.
Worse, you're hearing the person a row behind you screaming friends in low places.
Yeah, it's
you guys. Real quick, back to the.
I got friends in low places.
Donnie, I appreciate your effort to keep things moving forward.
Well, no, it's still on the phone thing. Well, it's still on the phone thing. So Ashley doesn't ride rides a lot. So that's people that lose phones are the people that really don't ride that often, and they don't know the rules or how to secure it. And of course, people that are trying to take pictures, but there's also the faction that people that just don't know how to secure their phone. So my wife, Ashley, bless her heart, rode the Magnum last year with my 10-year-old, and for some reason she thought that if she sat on it that it would be fine, and, and she lost it.
Centrifugal force.
And it flew all the way into Cedar Point Shores, to the point where like we could see it. Find my iPhone, but they couldn't find it. We told them and it was like it was like in the middle of like one of the rides, so you couldn't really walk to where it was. So she got a new phone, but you could see the location in Cedar Point Shores up until we like took the phone off of our account. But like it was just sitting in the middle of like the lazy river.
Doesn't that suck? Is like, I can see it's pinging. I know where it's at. It's the worst.
Tell Ashley that there's a really cute Lululemon fanny pack that can also be worn across the shoulder. It's about $38. She'll look cute.
Yeah, we're fanny packers all the way now.
Well, funny thing. Years ago, before cell phones were a big thing, I had one of those little Polaroid cameras, the Instamatic cameras. And I was Halloween weekends. I thought I was being slick. I hid it under my jacket. I'm like, I'm going to take a picture on the ride, and I pulled it out to take a picture, and it flew out of my hands and went down. It hit the ground. I'm like, oh, great. So at the end of the night, I went back. I go, hey, I lost a camera on the ride, and they found the camera. It was in pieces, but it actually took a picture as it hit the ground. Now you see it crack the glass and all this. It was an instant picture.
I when we were out in California, we went to Universal Studios. I thought this was kind of cool. They have mesh sacks to the roller coaster that was just attached to the bar, the secure bar, and you stick your phone and stuff in there, and then close the sack up. See, I don't know why Cedar Point hasn't picked that up on some of the rides, because that seems like it would solve a lot.
They had them on Steel Vengeance at one point.
They did.
And the excuse I got from them is time. People forget things in there, or it takes a second, to zip it, put your crap in there. But it's like, would you rather have other crap flying and hitting somebody, or an
extra second?
And those lockers, like at Steel Vengeance, you get to a certain point, and now they have the free phone lockers. But then if you use those, then you have to get out of line and then get in the phone locker line, which adds 10 minutes. We just use the big locker and put everything in that.
I just put my phone in the bin. I just put my phone in the bins, and that's what I do.
There's no bins, though. There's no bins on steel benches.
Yes, there's no bins. So, all right, you guys, real quick, ride of the week, Dave. What do you got?
Well, before I start, I just wanted to pull this out. I have an old poster here from Cedar Point. Remember the early ride entries?
Yes.
This was on the gate, the Magnum gate, on the final day of the Magnum gate. Before they remodeled it. The worker was there. They were stripping the gate down, getting it ready for the remodel. And he pulled this out. I'm like, hey, can I have that? He's like, yeah, it's yours. Here. Gave it to me.
That's awesome.
Cool. The actual poster that was in there.
They still do the early entry with a certain amount of rides, right? It's not that many, I don't think.
A couple, I think, for pass holders, yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah. Pass holders. Yeah, but ride of the week this week, since we're out of coasters, we're going to highlight some different rides in the park now. Sky Ride.
I love
Sky Ride in the park. Everybody loves the Sky Ride, right? Especially if your feet are tired, at the end of the day.
Or everybody hates Sky Ride.
Is that those cable cars? Those cable cars
cable
that take
car.
you to
the best.
Yeah.
Yep.
That make you feel like you're going to plunge from
your death. Yeah. But it opened in 1962, believe it or not. It's an old ride. And its current route, and then they used to back in the day have another one there too. They had two at one time that took you roughly where Coaster's Diner is now, took you to the back of the park in Frontier Town where the Exit of Mine ride, that big bathroom building they have there with the ramps going up the side of it, that was the other Sky Ride station at one point. And so they had two there. So you get off the one, walk right over to the other, and then when it got Iron Dragon, they had to take it out because Iron Dragon was in the way of it. But
I could be wrong. I have a question, because it's before my time. But at one point, wasn't that the only way to get to Frontier Town? Was taking the Sky Ride?
It may have been. I think the train was there at one time too, where the train would take you around.
Gotcha.
But I'm not positive on that.
So in 60 years, Dave, because I just did the math, in 60 years, I have to know because it's. I think it crosses everyone's mind. Has a basket ever fallen? I'm sure it is.
No.
Okay, so it's got to be. I mean, that's 1 billion rides probably in 60 years. So that's good.
They are safe at Cedar Point. I have total confidence in their maintenance department there.
Yeah,
and I got to say that with that ride too, they have a lot of redundant safety backups. I worked on that ride for a short time, way back a long time ago.
Yeah, you posted something on the chat where you're talking about it's more secure or something. I don't know. It was
they even have something that's called a Volkswagen is what they call it. It's an engine or a motor, like a gas powered motor. If the power were to go out in the park, it's like, well, how do you get those people down? So this gas powered motor, they can start it up and it slowly moves the cable around and they can unload the ride.
Well, I will say I went on it on Coaster Mania Day with my dad. We got to the station at the front of the park. 2 cars behind us, or gondolas, or whatever they're called. The whole thing stopped for about 20 minutes, and I was thanking Jesus that my feet were on the ground and I was not hanging in the death machine for any amount of time. We got right off it. 2 cars behind us was stuck.
That would
admit it. No matter how many times you've been on it, you always got that one piece of you that's a little nervous. It's like, this cable,
Exactly. That's what I was saying. If we know that in 60 years there hasn't been any accidents, that has to put someone's mind a little bit at ease because everyone has that go through their mind that at some point this basket's gonna fall, or especially like when it goes over the 4 little wheels, boom, 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 boom. Every time you're like, oh shit, here it comes.
You know what, Andrew? I have to take us back for a second, Andrew. I rode Cedar Downs, which I hadn't ridden in a long time, based on your recommendation. You are so right. How are people not being flung off that thing every single time? The ride operator was not paying attention. He was really nice, but he was not paying attention. I'm like, he should be shooting off here like tangentially with centrifugal force. I was like, hold on, man. This is intense. Sorry, sidebar on that.
No, I'm glad you did that because even when I went to that little amusement park on the boardwalk, they even had a belt around the carousel. I'm like, how does this need a belt and Cedar flying freestyle? It makes no sense to me.
That's part of the thrill.
Yeah. Well, and real quick, and here's the other thing about this other amusement park I went to. They had the basket ride as well, the one you're talking about, Dave. But theirs was more like a ski lift to where your feet dangle. And to me, that would terrify me. I didn't go on it. That would terrify me a little more. I like the comfort of a basket. I don't like anything where my feet dangles and I'm going slow. Like I don't know. It just freaked me out. Just watch.
I've been on one of those at Indiana Beach. Indiana, they have one like that too. Your feet are dangling.
Yeah.
No seatbelt, nothing. You're just sitting in the fiberglass seat. You got a lap bar in front of you, but if I wanted to, I could slide right out of the thing.
Oh, Jesus.
I think that's how it is at Hershey Park too, Dave. You'll have to give us an update. But at Hershey Park, you're hanging like that, and it's just a lap bar, and you're high. And
yes, I know.
It's fine. Okay. Everything's fine. It's fine.
Go ahead, Colleen.
Since we're talking about other amusement parks really quick, I have to tell you, my little 4-year-old with seizure-prone activity wanted to go parasailing.
Parasailing.
Not a problem at all. That's great.
Absolutely zero fear. Yeah. Now you can continue and tell them about your water ride experience.
So we're at this boardwalk amusement park in Santa Cruz. Is that where we were? Santa Cruz? Yeah, Santa Cruz. And so they have this log flume ride, right? But the log flume is like I have a mild case of fear of heights. It's not bad. I can do like I can do baskets and stuff, but it does freak me out a little bit. But this water flume ride was so high in the air. Or quick,
you have a fear of heights, yet you rock the freaking Ferris wheel.
All right,
no. So I would have thrown you right out of that.
He's changing the subject now.
Bye, Andrew. You're gonna have to go now.
So this water flume ride takes you up in the air, and it's more like a water slide, where it's just got the lanes, but they're all in the air. And it started to freak me out because number one, the water goes halfway up, and then so your water flume is almost above the thing, and on this boardwalk town, I can see the houses that are on a cliff. There's like 100-foot cliff. Then there's a house on there, and then we're high. That's across the way, and we're higher than the house on a cliff. And I'm like, this thing could just a gust of water could just blow us right over the damn top, and it was freaking me out so bad. And my 4-year-old was loving it, and I'm like, let's just get this thing over with, because the whole ride was just in the air. Like higher than, I don't know. It seemed like we were on the wind seeker. It was like that high. It seemed like, and we're just rolling around with like very little safety. You're just
bumping into the edges and stuff. Like boom, boom, boom. Okay. That's enough. Boom.
It's crazy.
Also, I'd mention too that I don't know what day we're having a show next week, Friday or Sunday, whichever it may be. But next Sunday morning, really early, we're leaving on our 2-week road trip. We're doing
all those
10 different amusement parks along the East Coast.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we're going to be doing 5-6 days. We got a condo in Williamsburg area there.
Oh, very
cool. Got for Colonial Williamsburg. And then, like I said, 10 different amusement parks, Cedar Fair Park.
If I get my name changed to Chapman by next week, what are the chances that I can get in on this?
You can go.
I mean, I'm nearby. I'll drive to your house. I'll sit on the.
We've got room for one more.
Hey, Colleen.
Yeah, I'll be ready.
No, Dave.
Definitely time we do the show, I'm definitely going to be doing it from the park probably. So.
All right, you guys. Well, it's great talking to you. I loved catching up. It seemed like it's been forever, even though it hadn't been that long.
Forever. Miss you guys.
All right, you guys. Make sure you check out our podcast. Share it. Tell everybody. Tell a friend. And we will see you guys next week. Bye, everybody.
Next week.